This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
As Cheyenne's weather turns warmer, dust and pollen can become a problem for those with allergies, asthma, or respiratory issues. And the last thing you want in the summer heat is poor air quality in your home or office. So it's time to turn to Marv's Plumbing and Heating. That's right, Cheyenne's most trusted plumbing, sewer, and heating business also services air conditioning. Marv's Plumbing and Heating, 1515 Logan Avenue, can handle all your air conditioning needs. Give them a call, 316-7634. That's 316-7634.
Is your teenager ready to drive?
Come on, Mom, let's go.
Sorry, you're not ready to drive yet.
What? Come on.
You need to complete a driver's ed class first.
The Wyoming-Montana Safety Council offers a complete driver's education program taught by Tim Woodard, former Laramie County School District's driver's ed teacher. Classes are starting soon. Please call 635-4592 to sign up or go to wmsafetycouncil.org. Wyoming-Montana Safety Council. Think safe, live safe.
What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk Today, which is being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. What a great day. Tuesdays always dubbed Taco Tuesday. Load up on some delicious tacos from Taco John's of Cheyenne. Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service on Highway 30, your home for Jayco RVs and fifth wheels. And again, they're closing them out. And you will find some good deals as always. Steve and the great crew over there, they always make you an offer you can't refuse. Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Delrange, known for lunch and dinner. Yeah. Breakfast bonus Monday through Saturday with 2 convenient drive-thrus. Delicious breakfast goodies, including their hash brown scramblable or their Chick-fil-A biscuit. It's a must-try. So load up on breakfast always at Chick-fil-A. Next to Menards, right there on Windmill and Delrange. Kia of Cheyenne, where AJ and Greg Miller and the entire Kia crew have a great Kia for you to drive home in. Got to move out those 18s with the 19s slowly filtering in. So, again, check out some special deals over at Kia of Cheyenne. Platte Valley Bank with 2 banking locations. The east side location at the corner of College and Pershing. Of course, the original location, you will find Rick and his great staff over on Vandehine, again, offering all the banking services you come to expect and appreciate through all these years. Medicap Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs was over there earlier today, seeing my good friends over there, and they're right next door to Texas Roadhouse with your doctor's prescription. They'll fill those prescriptions, explain those medications to you. They do a great job always at Medicap Pharmacy. Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center, which is located on Pershing Boulevard. The auto body shop for trucks and cars, yes, with a plethora of bays because it's been pounded by hail. Yes, your vehicle will be taken care of over at Lennox Auto Body on Dunn Avenue. First Tier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, where Tim and his great staff invite you to come on in, do your banking there too. Talk to them about their special CD rates with APYs that are pretty doggone good. Annual percentage yields right now. Mondello's Pizzeria right across the street at 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. And again, Joe and the whole gang, Caesar, they put together some fantastic feasts for lunch, or, you know, maybe you're doing a party like we did here last week. The food is unbelievable, always freshly made from Mondello's Pizzeria, open Monday through Sunday. The Wyoming-Montana Safety Council, 635-4592. Make sure you give Tim a call. How about Marv's Plumbing and Heating? Yes, we can still talk a little summer, get those air conditionings looked at. Hey, you might want to start thinking about the heating unit too, because it was a little bit cool this morning for some of you out there going, it was too cold this morning. 1515 Logan Avenue. And, of course, we always get our program underway with our scoreboard which is being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. We go first to Nick to see what his scoreboard looks like.
It's got squad on it, or at least what I can do is always remind folks that it is week 0 of high school football action here on 1480 K-Ray. Again, reminding you folks that game kickoff for Thunder Basin at Central that will be live here on 1480 K-Ray, 101.1 FM, and streaming live on 1480kray.com. Again, kickoff for that game will be 7 o'clock, not 6, 7 o'clock, with pregame here at 6:30. So reminding folks it is week 0. Football is finally here for Wyoming.
Major League Baseball, Phillies and the Nationals. That will be at Nats Park. Looks like the Nats doing a little house cleaning today as they shipped off Daniel Murphy and Matt Adams. Are they saying, stick a fork in us, we're done? I'm going to go out on a limb and say, yeah. Braves at the Pirates, Orioles at the Blue Jays. It'll be the Indians at the Red Sox. Again, all in the 5 o'clock hour. Cubs and the Motor City Kitties of Detroit at Co-America. Giants and the Mets at Citi Field, if you didn't hear. Oh, by the way, Brandon Nimmo on the, I think it's a 10-day DL with the finger injury that he has. Yankees and the Marlins at Marlins Park. Royals will be at the Rays at the Trop. Reds and the Brewers in the 6 o'clock hour. Twins and the White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. Coming up at 6:10. Padres Rockies, 6:40 at Coors Field. It will be Tyler Anderson getting the call against Robbie Erlin for San Diego this evening. Angels and the Diamondbacks at Chase Field in Phoenix, where it's only 97 degrees, so it's a little cooler than normal there. Cardinals and the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine this evening. And the Rangers Athletics, that will be at the Oco, where the A's, the swinging A's, are now tied for first place in the AL West with the Houston Astros, who will play at the same time against the Seattle Mariners at Safeco this evening. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
This is the Pepsi that's got a date with your taste buds. We're talking 1,000.
Line of credit from Platte Valley Bank.
Some restrictions may apply, subject to credit approval. Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
For today, it'll be cloudy with thunderstorms likely in the afternoon with highs around 66. For tonight, it'll continue to be cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 50. On Wednesday, it'll be mostly cloudy with a possible thunderstorm in the afternoon with highs around 70. And on Wednesday night, it'll continue to be mostly cloudy with the rain showers likely with lows around 52.
Fat, lazy, and stupid is no way to conduct a sports talk radio show. We've thrown down the gauntlet, upped the stakes, and made it clear that when it comes to sports talk radio in Cheyenne, there's a new player in town. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's only here on AM 1480 K-Ray.
You are dialed into the only father-son radio sports talk show here in Cheyenne. Larry Proati, along with Nick Proati. Our special guest is the Wyoming High School Activities Association Commissioner Ron Laird. Ron, I always like to start with the program because I age myself, and my son kind of just gives me that like, oh, here we go again. But let's be honest here, pal.
At that point, I'm
let's be honest. You've been at this gig a long time, not your first rodeo, and if I recall, are we working on about a quarter century now behind that commissioner's desk?
Well, it's my 42nd year in education here in Wyoming, but I was in POW for 26 years before taking this, and this is my 15th year actually as far as the commissioner. So. All
righty. Well, I missed it by 10, but that's okay. I know you've been there for a long time, and as you took over at the turn of the century, what changes have you seen throughout the high schools and the sporting climate throughout the state of the Wyoming? What are you seeing? Is it more of technological advances? Give us your thoughts.
Well, obviously, yeah, the technology has taken over in a lot of different areas. One of the challenges I think that all of our schools have had, it seems like, a lot of our larger schools are getting bigger and our smaller schools continue to get smaller, and so then that makes it a real challenge when you're trying to keep an equity of playing field for everybody and those types of things. So that part's been there. I've watched through the years with the reclassification. We kind of go in cycles. We have concern over travel, and so we say we got to play people that are closer to us, and so then we do that. In order to do that, you got to play some people that are larger or smaller than you, and then after a few years and the scores aren't great, and people say we got to play people our size, and then the only way you can do that is you got to travel more to be able to do that, and so we've kind of got in that cycle for the whole time that I've been in Wyoming anyway. So.
Ron, as we look towards the football season, of course, it's week 0 coming up this weekend, and a lot of people scratch their head going, gosh, school hasn't even started and we're playing football, but I've called many a game here in this state, traveled, the I-80, I-25 route many a time. And, pretty much we seem to have our best weather up until we get to the state championship over in Laramie. But is that a reason per se, knowing that our weather's going to be fairly decent through the course of the football season for travel for most teams?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the main reasons. We're the second. Alaska finishes before we do, and then there's us and one other state that finish on the same weekend that we do. But there was a lot of games around the nation that started last weekend, actually, in the South and stuff, and even with their heat that they deal with. So it's kind of interesting when you look at it from a national perspective. But for us, it works out, and we were able to add that extra football game for the 4A level several years ago now, and so that they do get a full 9-game schedule, and so that's worked out pretty well.
Well, and I want to keep on the theme, at least something that we brought up the past week about the state title game over there in Laramie, as we were kind of talking about when back in my day here, at least graduating 10 years ago from Cheyenne East, where we were playing at least state tournaments at whoever had the best record overall, whether it was Cheyenne, up in Gillette, Casper, however it was in Class 4A and the other classes amongst Wyoming. But for you, Ron, at least what was the decision behind sending the state title game over to Laramie? Was it just giving the student athletes that advantage, or at least that opportunity to play at a Division I, at least neutral field, or what was the decision to move state title games to Laramie?
Well, it was a combination of things, because obviously there was a lot of people that did like the fact that they got to host if they had the best record coming in the highest seed, but our push was really, with only having the one university and to be able to play at War Memorial for those kids, we try and put our kids in the best venues that we can for our state events, and that certainly is the top-notch venue in the state for football. And it did also then give a neutral field to everybody, because there was people that didn't feel it was right that someone got to host on their home field and that type of thing. So it was pretty controversial when we first started, and then of course the very first year we had the worst weather we've had, and it was only in Laramie. I think even in Cheyenne it was still 40 degrees while we fought a foot of snow in Laramie, and so that didn't help us when we first got started. But now it's we hear nothing but positive. And and I'm down on the field with the kids and the coaches and watch their reaction, and even the student bodies when they come out on the field to line up and they're looking up at that big video board and stuff. And it's just been a great experience for the kids that have had the opportunity to participate there.
Well, also too, you also have great support from the University of Wyoming. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know how much longer the contract is, or is this just an ongoing deal with UW until further notice?
They put in a bid, and they either put in a 2 or 4, and so they continue to put in a 2-year bid, and so we have 1 more year left on this one, and then 2 more after that. So
let's talk about changes again. During your time, obviously South comes into play here in southeast Wyoming, so another big high school, Thunder Basin, comes into play. So it makes the 4A a little bit crowded. Would you say more on the eastern part of the state right now?
Yeah, it did, but it also gave us an opportunity to go ahead and increase the number of schools at the 4A level, and that's the first time we've done that since I think 83, 84, where we've gone to 16 now at that level, and so this will be the first year that we'll be doing that, and that's just in volleyball, basketball, and track. And the reason for those 3 was that's almost all of our schools have those 3 sports. We left the other sports alone because they don't have all of the schools participating, and so we felt that the way we currently had it was probably the best way to continue those. And so this will be the first year with that in volleyball, basketball, and track.
One of the sad things that I saw during this time, and again, you can give me the whys and the wherefores. I think it's based on probably student enrollment more than anything. In the Class 4A, we ended up losing the likes of the Green River Wolves and Evanston moving out, and we also lost Cody, Riverton. Again, was that based on population dwindling a little bit in those areas?
Yeah, it really is. As I indicated earlier, I mean, we've got a lot of schools that are losing students, and then we've got those few that continue to grow. Jackson being one of those that's really starting to see more and more growth each year, and so they've moved up now into that 4A ranks in those sports, and the others have not grown quite as much. But Green River will still continue. And in the 4A, Star Valley will come back up. Jackson will stay there. So Riverton and Cody are coming back up now in the 4A, and they'll all be on the west side. So once we set the classifications, then we let the schools decide how they're going to break out their conferences and their regional tournaments and qualifying for state. That's all determined by the ADs and the schools themselves. And so they've come up with 4 quadrants that we'll use in those. In the 4A this year in volleyball, basketball, and then it'll still be an east-west once we get down to the point of playing the regional tournament. The 1 from the north will play the 4 from the south, and so on.
And we'll talk about those quadrants here in just a moment. I want to go back to, again, in my time here, obviously in your time, Ron, again, a lot of years spent, and it's tough to see some of the schools that have to scrap programs and they have to merge with another school. For example, Upton Sundance, I'll use that as an example. I remember when the Bobcats were by themselves many years ago. But is that something that you leave to the school district, or is that something that you get together with the schools together, the athletic directors? How do you, get those kids divvied up between the 2 schools?
Well, that's strictly at the school level. They decide if they're going to combine or not, and then once we see where they're going, what those numbers are going to be. The biggest thing on a combination agreement is if it's going to move them up a classification by taking another school. A lot of times they won't combine with the school because they don't want to move up and be the smaller school in the next classification. But we've really only got like 2 or 3 of those situations. The rest of them, all the other combinations, seem to work pretty well.
How about the students, for example, in the bigger cities, Cheyenne, Casper? We'll use Nick as an example. He lives on the east side of town. He wants to go to Cheyenne Central. Is that up to the school districts, or the Wyoming High School Activities Association has boundaries set up amongst the triad here in Cheyenne?
No, that's a school district decision as well. Our rule allows any freshman in the state, when they first are going to come in as a 9th grader, they can go to any school in the state by our rules. Now, the school district, obviously, and I'll use Cheyenne just because they have boundaries, says no. In our district, if you live in this triad, you're going here, in this triad, you're going there, and so forth. And that's all of our rules, really. The schools can always trump those with more stringent rules, even if it's like our academic rule. They have to be passing 5 classes each week to be able to participate. If the school wants to say, no, you got to be passing 7, then they got to be passing 7. So the schools really, I mean, we work for the schools, basically, is how it works.
Ron Laird, Wyoming High School Activities Association Commissioner, join us this afternoon on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Ron, as we get back to the quadrants that we've come about now for 3 sports, let's talk about it. The decisions, obviously, we would sit here and scratch our head and say, well, in the Northwest, you got Rock Springs. Wait a minute. But you know, I guess as you sat down with all the athletic directors and you put this pen to paper and said this is the way it's going to go, how did this all come about?
Well, the first thing they were looking at was trying to reduce overall travel as much as they could. Obviously, the Northwest one is the oddball there, with having Cody and Rock Springs being in the same one. But when you looked at overall travel, by keeping Evanston, Green River, Jackson, and Star Valley together, that reduced a lot of travel there. Obviously, the Southeast with the 3 Cheyennes and Laramie reduced a lot of travel, and then with the Northeast, by having Sheridan and the 2 Campbell counties and then Natrona. Now, what they've agreed on, if we stay in this format of the 16, then every 2 years the Caspers will switch east and west, just to try and balance their travel, so that one of them, you know, like right now, Kelly Walsh is going to travel more than Natrona with the current setup. But that one on the west side, they looked at about 3 different things and then came back and the overall travel, and then also trying to, you know, look at the equity of competition a little bit there and try and balance that as well.
Is this a thing of something to come down the pike maybe for football, or we're going to leave football as it is?
I think football, everyone seems to be real happy with how that's played out. The only thing I would see that could possibly happen with football is we're really struggling with our 1A 11-man football. We've got several schools that are really struggling to keep enough kids to keep it going, and so we are having the discussion of possibly looking at going to maybe a 9-man and a 6-man at the 1A level, and then go to 2A from there for the 11-man, and so that discussion has been in the hopper a little bit, and just taking a look at it, because we got 2 more schools again this year that are just, you know, they just don't have enough kids to keep it going.
It sounds like a lot of discussions happening there at the High School Athletics Association. But, Ron, a topic that we've talked many a time as something that's wrapped up, especially around here in the Cheyenne region, but with Legion Baseball, Connie Mack, and, again, brought up this discussion
and softball
with
too, yeah.
And softball as well, too, with Cheyenne Extreme. But what have been the discussions there, at least amongst the high schools, of bringing baseball and softball to the high school programs around the state of Wyoming? We understand that population's an issue and weather as well, too, during those times. But has that something been kind of talked about and tried to attempt for at least Wyoming high schools?
We have attempted to be honest with you, the softball more than the baseball, just to try and balance things up a little bit with the boys and girls sports, with having wrestling, you know, being an odd sport for the boys. And our rule is we have to have at least 8 schools that would commit to any new sport before we would add it, and we have not been able to get 8 schools that are willing to do it. You know, the challenge is, well, one is, you know, with our altitudes as we go across the state, the weather in the spring, you know, we fight that. We would think from our end it would be a spring sport more than a fall sport, because we've already got, you know, several sports in the fall. We've got the 5 girl sports and 5 boy sports in the fall, and so the spring, where we've only got the other 2 with track and soccer, that would make the most sense. But then obviously, you know, the weather becomes an issue with that. And then if you look at our 72 schools, you know, we got 50 of them that have 300 or less students, and so you pretty much take them out of adding any other sports, and so it starts reducing the number of potential schools that could even look at adding. And right now the timing is not great with the school budgets being cut and so forth to try and add a sport. Baseball, we've really not had that big of a push for some reason. When I first got on, there was small group of parents that called and asked about it, and then we told them the process, and we've never really heard anything again from baseball standpoint. But the softball's been a little more active with trying to look at, and matter of fact, I just met today with the USA director of softball and explaining that process and looking at it. So that might be something that maybe down the road we'll be able to get going.
Well, that would be nice to see that. And again, like you said, that would balance out the Title IX for boys and girls sports. You know, as you look back on the baseball side, would more of the interest on the baseball side be from this part, the eastern part of the state, more than the west? Yeah,
I would think so. The other thing that happens with our rules is if you're going to be on, if we started baseball, they wouldn't be able to be on a Legion team and the high school team at the same time. They'd have to wait until the high school season was over before they could join the Legion. And most states have enough kids that they'll have separate kids on their Legion team and on their high school team because they got enough kids to do that. And so whenever we propose that or show them that, by our rules you wouldn't be able to be on both teams at the same time, then they would rather have their longer, and we would probably realistically with a high school season, we're probably going to play 16 or 18 games where they, are playing whatever they're, 50, 60, 70 games depending on where you're at in the state in the summer and through the summer, and they'd rather do that than only have an 18-game season. The main reason that we get is, one, the state championship, obviously, through the high schools means a lot to each community, and then lettering seems to be of interest to a lot of them. They'd be able to get another letter. We do have several school districts that have baseball, softball, hockey. A lot of them go ahead and letter those kids as long as they meet the requirements that they've set up. So it isn't that the schools can't letter them, but that would be a local school decision.
It's funny that we talk about baseball, softball, and again, it's kind of tough to get those sports even underway during the springtime. You must, and again, athletic directors across the state that are involved in the soccer program, they must be scratching their head going, how in the heck do we get a spring schedule ever done in this state?
Yeah, it's a challenge, that's for sure. And that's been really a concern with the baseball and softball. We even looked at it in, I think it was 2011. We looked at starting maybe if we got the softball going at that time, start at late April and go ahead and play to mid-June, and because a lot of times our soccer games, they're still trying to get those made up the week of regional soccer, so they can get the seeding finalized.
Yeah, that's basically you have to pattern your schedule almost like the old University of Wyoming baseball program where they spent the first half of their season on the road. Yeah. Hey, Ron, we want to thank you so much for joining us today, and we'd love to have you back in the program. Hopefully we can catch up with you during most of the school year and check back with you and find out what's going on with the Wyoming High School Activities Association.
All right, well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks. Have a good day.
All right, take care. Ron Laird, again, Wyoming High School Activities Association Commissioner. Join us here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. We will take a time out. We'll be right back.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Is your teenager ready to drive?
Come on, Mom, let's go.
Sorry, you're not ready to drive yet.
What? Come on.
You need to complete a driver's ed class first.
The Wyoming-Montana Safety Council offers a complete driver's education program taught by Tim Woodard, former Laramie County School District's driver's ed teacher. Classes are starting soon. Please call 635-4592 to sign up or go to wmsafetycouncil.org. Wyoming-Montana Safety Council. Think safe. Live safe.
It's the sale from Hale during Terrell Honda's Summer Spectacular event. Here's the deal. Minor dings on a small percentage of their inventory equals huge savings today. Check them all out and drive home in the 2018 Honda Civic LX CVT or the 2018 Accord LX CVT and the 2018 HR-V LX. See these and the entire Honda fleet right now. Remember, it's your choice. Buy it or lease it from Terrell Honda, where you'll love their brand of dealing. Stop by for the sale from Hale at Terrell's Summer Spectacular event, 1919 Westland Road, Motor City, Cheyenne.
At Medicap Pharmacy, we concentrate on nothing but your medications and your health. Each location is a locally owned full-service neighborhood pharmacy. We won't make you walk through aisles and aisles of stuff or wait in a long line. Instead, we'll always make time for you by listening, answering your questions, and explaining your prescriptions.
Medicap Pharmacy. We'll always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712.
We're taking Cheyenne, Wyoming Sports Talk Radio to a whole new level. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
Don't look at me. I think these people are completely nuts.
Stop this crazy thing! And it's only here on AM 1480 K-Ray.
We're back on Wyoming Sports Talk today. We want to thank Ron Laird for joining us on our first segment here. And I don't know, Nick, if that answered a few of your questions. And again, too,
well, I don't know if it answered any of yours. Again, the baseball, the baseball. I mean, again, we kind of assumed
we know the answers.
Yeah, we pretty much. But it was more so a pry-in of if they've kind of entertained the thought, or at least trying to make it a thing across the state of Wyoming. But again, with numbers and especially with the weather out in this part of the world, it's kind of a big issue. Though when he did mention softball, that they have entertained that might be a possibility coming to the state of Wyoming, I think that's a very good positive there. I think that's a good step forward, or at least having that addition. Be interested to see how far away we are from adding softball to the high school, at least scene here in the state of Wyoming. Now,
and that's a good thing too. And I'm glad you mentioned the softball, because with the soccer, again, they're not all high schools are involved in soccer. There's very few teams that are playing soccer, but they get it done. And again, some of the ladies move right from soccer into extreme programs or summer programs. I would think that would be a good idea to get that going in mid-April. I really do. I think you could put a 6-week schedule together right before the end of school, and
it does
take your chances.
It does step on to some. You would have to kind of at least work around Cheyenne Extreme, because I do know, at least with Adam Galici's team, they do tap into that April, May kind of.
Well, see, and I think some of the rules that have to be bent,
since they are a spring team for Cheyenne Extreme, they do tap into those.
I would think
months
though
already.
You would have to bend some rules, because remember he said in baseball, if they were to play high school baseball, they could not play American League.
I wouldn't doubt you have numbers where, especially those rec players, probably move and play on the high school teams. If they're not able to play for Extreme, they go instead and play for those high school ranks. They would probably know more about this, or at least what is the state, at least how many numbers would be able to supply teams in the state of Wyoming. But at least, again, a good sign, a good thing to hear that softball might be coming in the near future to the state of Wyoming, especially in the high school ranks. But be interesting how it is all going to settle down, what months are going to be played, who's going to be involved with that, and does it conflict with any of those kind of again, with the Cheyenne Extremes of the state or other teams that do already play in that spring months.
And you got to realize I've been here 33 years now, and it's still hard for me to understand all of what goes on here, especially with baseball, because I'm a baseball fan, and I know from my high school days, you went straight from the baseball season, which started for us in February, and we ended in May. And then we went right
again. You can't get away with February. You're dealing with 2 feet of snow.
No, but we were only dealing with maybe some rain. But then we went right after May. We were into our summer programs, which would be we didn't have Legion in my town of Pittsburgh. We had Joe DiMaggio. And then, of course, after our Joe DiMaggio team folded, a buddy of mine and I, we went and played Connie Mack with that La Marinda team over in Orinda, California. So, again, our seasons are a lot different on the
Well, clearly, again, as we talk,
and again, I don't know
as we
like
talk with Rick
Nebraska,
Thompson,
Colorado.
we talk with Ty Lane, again, we all know that we're kind of behind the 8 ball compared to the rest of states across this nation.
We're not behind. We're about we're slightly behind now. I think we're slightly behind because, again, a lot of great strides have been made.
It's still a step behind others who have advantages, quote unquote, where again you are able, and again where we saw Montana has a high school program where Montana they got to deal with just as bad weather as we do, but they find
have
a way.
more population base.
I get that, and again, we are behind the 8 ball on population with weather, and again, Ron kind of at least expressed that when we did dive into the baseball talks. But again, nothing really new on that, but at least softball, at least being entertained for the high school around the state of Wyoming, good news. Now going to basketball with the quadrant system. If you've not seen the quadrant system, folks, especially for boys and girls, and I throw away those papers. I have a good memory, at least with it. Again, for the Southeast region, it will be the 4 teams will be the 3, Cheyenne, so East, South, Central, and then Laramie. So traveling not too bad between those two. Now when it gets away from our little neck of the woods out here, you find some interesting travel during basketball, where what was the main thing in football, at least when Ron talked about, was trying to alleviate travel and avoid, or at least any kind of dire situations. Well, that's where it gets kind of interesting, where you have one, I do believe in the Southwest region, you do have Green River and Evanston, but then they play Jackson along with Star Valley. I do believe in the Northwest region you will see Cody and Riverton, but also too includes Kelly Walsh, who will have to travel from Casper, and do believe as well, I'm putting a blank on the 4th team out there in that Northwest region, but
Cody, Rock Springs.
Rock Springs, that's the other one. So again, you're going from the Southwest, but they're playing in the Northwest, and they got to travel to Riverton, Cody, and Casper. And again, during basketball months, where we all know the roads are, how they are during that time. And then also too in the Northeast region, you do have the 2 Gillette teams of Campbell County and Thunder Basin, along with Sheridan. That makes sense. And then you will have Natrona County. Now, as Ron mentioned, and as something we've known as well too, with the 2 Casper schools between Natrona and Kelly Walsh, they will switch every 2 years to facilitate travel needs, or at least lessen the stress on those two. So for now, Natrona for the next 2 years is in that Northwest. Kelly Walsh is in the North, at least Northwest.
Kelly Walsh goes Northwest,
yeah,
and Natrona's East.
East, and then they'll flip-flop to East and West. So.
Well, and again, too, you look at...
some of the school placing, though, is very interesting, but as Ron was talking about, again, it was up to the school districts, up to schools of how they put together those quadrant systems. So it's kind of a basis of, well, what's up with these schools of deciding that we're going to have travel needs between Jackson down to Green River, Rock Springs to go all the way up to Riverton and Cody?
But for Rock Springs, it makes more sense to go to Riverton because, again, you go...
Okay, why would you keep Rock Springs with Green River and Evanston, keep them similar?
All right, so you have them go where? To Star Valley, and that's it. And then you have Jackson.
Yeah, you'd have Jackson, Cody.
Again, Jackson's got a farther haul into Cody.
Hey, it's...
I mean, actually,
placement does not make sense.
I'm sorry, they got a farther haul into Riverton than anybody. But again,
Rock Springs to Riverton is not a piece of cake.
It doesn't matter. Those folks over there in the northwest part of the state, they know it better than us. They've got a hell of a drive in some of these cases. This is where,
no doubt about.
This is where you sometimes.
I think Cheyenne, we are very fortunate, or at least how the quadrant, again, with the 3 schools here, and to at least make up the 4 full teams, at least in your quadrant, again, with the 40-mile team to the west with Laramie High School. We're very fortunate here. At least those
and believe it or not, radio in the Northwest is very, very popular because, again, the radio guys are the ones that brave those weathers and go to those places to bring those games. Well, no, but I'm just saying.
All we got to do is hop over to Laramie every once in a while. Maybe
that too, and
then whatever non-conference. Hopefully, they'll come down here.
We'll go up to Casper, and we do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Again, our side. Again, there's not any change. You got the Eastern Conference here with us and Laramie. Then you go up to the Northeast, and you got Sheridan, Gillette, Thunder Basin. I'm sorry, Campbell County, Thunder Basin, and Casper and Natrona. Basically the same cast of characters.
Yeah.
Except minus Kelly Walsh, right?
Yeah, essentially.
So it's like nothing really changes, at least this upcoming season.
So far.
Yeah.
Again, it seems like it's almost like an experiment. We'll see how long this lasts, especially how often the Wyoming High School Athletics Association does swap things out, where, again, we've had the EWAC, again, splitting the conferences for football. Well, that's kind of out of the window at this point. Basketball did the same thing. Now we're in the quadrant system. So we'll see how long this kind of experiment lasts.
And I remember years ago we used to have the I-25 group, and we used to have the 80 group, and Cheyenne Central was in the north, and East was in the south, just because Central was like 4 or 5 miles north of Cheyenne East. I mean, again, the way you look at some of the...
They're right by I-25, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, you look at some of the decisions and you scratch your head, but it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes the athletic directors are not, over enthused about these things because, again, I remember those days when Central was in the north, they were in a battle. I mean, that conference was tough.
Oh, yeah.
And you always felt, because Central also is the powerhouse, and it was like, man, they're sure stacking the deck against them.
Yeah.
But
the only interesting, and Ron kind of talked about it a little bit, or at least briefly spoke about, especially on the basketball side, is especially with the quadrant system, it's still up to schools in school districts and especially ADs around the state to determine of how regionals is going to work out, of who's going to be determined, at least seeding and everything. That is still not set in stone. Is it something to be alarmed right now, or at least be worried? Not necessarily. Again, regionals is up in March, but it's kind of interesting that we have this quadrant system. We knew about it for quite some time, but we don't know how playoffs or at least regionals is going to set up and work, how the seeding is going to match up. Again, who knows if we even have a regional site right now for both East and West at this point in time?
Oh, I think it's always going to be Casper. Oh, not regional. I'm sorry.
Regional, yeah.
State will always be Casper.
Well, I mean, again, for regionals, what are you going to do? Now you have that select of,
is it going to be in the Northeast one year? Is it going to be in the Southeast the next? And then you flip.
Do you go to Casper for Natrona? I
don't know.
Especially you had it in Laramie last year. You have 3 Cheyenne schools down here. You're going to have the one Casper school.
I don't know.
2 Gillettes, 1 Sheridan.
We're going to have to figure out, it was in Gillette 2 years ago. So, yeah, it might be another Northeast travel. Who knows? The thing is, too, I'm glad that they keep football the same because, again,
there's nothing to mess with. At least, and again,
I'm just saying, you don't want to bring Green River back into the fold. You don't want to bring Evanston back into the fold.
No.
Cody and and Riverton. You don't. That makes it a 14-team division, and Jackson's not ready to jump.
I think with 4A,
I actually believe Star Valley can match up in the 4A.
I think they've dominated 3A for quite some time.
The Braves they're a good outfit. So they could make their mark.
But again, a lot of those teams, or at least a lot of those schools, especially where we talked again with 1A, were looking to remove 11-man football and move down to 9 and 6 because a lot of these schools, at least in those smaller markets around at least the state of Wyoming, are hurting right now with at least attendance at schools, and it's very, very curious and peculiar situation with those schools. Is it something that Star Valley couldn't afford to move up to a 4A at this point? Do they have enough student athletes to, or at least, again, who knows at this point in time? I think they've dominated 3A quite some time at this point that they could probably do well in 4A.
I think they have the numbers, but school district-wise, they don't have the numbers, if that makes any sense. They have kids, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors that go out for football. That's the thing to do. The thing to do is play basketball as well in Star Valley. But, again, they have a consistent population base. And, again, it never tips the scales to put them into 4A.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, again, we want to thank Ron Laird. That was an interesting conversation. And as like you said, well, what does he really do? Well, he's got to make a lot of decisions up there sometimes. But the one big decision he likes to do,
it sounds like
leave it in the hands of the school districts.
I was going to say, school districts and ADs, take care of it. Have fun.
That
doesn't seem like a bad gig for 15 years.
That's the kind of job we definitely want. And he makes big bucks, too. Yeah, he does have to make a decision once in a while, like, well, if you think back to the...
He's got to negotiate contracts for
think back to the ugly incident that we had at Story Gym. That's where he has to step in. And
which was, again, a lot of people questioned the decision on everything.
But, he looked at the same videos we looked at, and there was 2 different videos. I was there firsthand, so I could tell exactly what happened. But, the thing is, and like you said, he's got to negotiate those contracts with UW. He's got to do the same thing with Casper. And again, too, I look back in the day, and I don't think it was under Ron Laird. And matter of fact, I think under his tenure as the Activities Association commissioner. I think it's been in Casper, the basketball championships, but his predecessor before that, we were in Laramie. And we were in Laramie for state championships.
Which I'm surprised they have not made that move back again, where football's already there. Why not move to the AA where, again, Cal.
And I remember one year,
especially down in March, it's probably more so of these local tournaments again with the I guess with the NIT, especially where the Cowgirls are probably year in and year out are probably guaranteed where they're going to be at home there in Laramie, or either the Cowboys sneak into
we did
those CIT, CBI.
But we also did back in the day too. Benny D's / Jim Brandenburg teams were good.
Yeah,
and they had that opportunity of getting NIT or going to NCAA. I remember one year that we had championship qualifiers inside the field house. So, and that was that again, I'm really dating myself back, and then they had the championship in the arena auditorium.
Yeah.
So again, that would be nice. We used to always have the MPG,
and again,
the multi-purpose gym that you could play in. So there was all kinds of stuff.
What Ron talked about, especially with, and to answer your kind of question, where we had the argument between, or at least keeping it at home field advantage for local high schools, or moving it to Laramie, where he brought up of, hey, give those student athletes, and again, something that I told you of, hey, give them that opportunity, let them see what it's like to be on a Division I field. Have that neutral site. Have something special for these student athletes who made it to the state title game. I'm surprised they have not done that for basketball. Give those student athletes, again, on the girls and boys side of, hey, here's where the Cowgirls play. Here's where the Cowboys play. Look at, especially with the renovations, the upgrades that the AA has gone through in the past couple of seasons. Surprised they have not worked to deal with
I'm
that.
torn.
I'm not against Casper. Again, centralized right there in the middle state. I absolutely understand that too. But going off of the theme of what he was talking about with football, well, why wouldn't you do it the same thing?
See, I'm torn on.
basketball?
I'm torn on the football. The football part, you should be rewarded.
You are rewarded. You're playing in a college stadium. Like for instance, again,
and the team that is your runner-up.
In any other state as well, too. Again, you look down in Colorado. Guess what? Some of those higher ranked, again, those 5A, 4A,
I understand.
they're playing in Mile High Stadium. They're playing where the Broncos play.
I understand, but the thing is, too, in this state, you should be rewarded for the best record, not wearing the home jersey at the University of Wyoming. You should be hosting your championship game. You should have the home field advantage. I don't believe it should be a neutral. It's me. I'm just saying this.
All right.
I don't think it should be a neutral
again, I'll
field.
bring up that
And
argument in the
it's
NFL.
great.
So the Super Bowl will be the same. So the Patriots have the best record. Should it always be in Gillette Stadium then? Should they be rewarded for that?
No, it's been.
Then what's your issue between that?
But that was
neutral
also
field?
see. Here's where you're popping off, and you're wrong. That was a decision years ago by the National Football League to get the AFL and the NFL. Who was the better conference? And that was the Super Bowl. So they brought those two teams together. You still have.
I don't know what your argument is.
You still have the AFC and the NFC. Here we have these same teams play all against each other all season long.
And here you go again to cap off a great season for you. You play in a neutral site on a college level play, at least on a field. There you go. Have fun. Enjoy it. Again, you got to think as well too for those young athletes where, hey, it's something you don't get to do always in your life. Some of them might not even make it to that collegiate level, but they get to at least experience it for one day, for one game.
I've just been there.
There you go.
I've just been there, and I just don't see the crowds. That's just me. Again, War Memorial Stadium.
All right,
looks,
then
War Memorial
what
Stadium
about these week 0 football games where we even talked with Mark Puev yesterday, where he's been talking about they're having issues trying to get folks out there because, again, no students are in school at this point in time. Attendance are very low for those week 0 contests.
Well, families do vacations.
Why
too.
do we have that then?
Again, sorry that families go on vacation. It is August, and you still want to get out there and go boating and fishing and hiking and whatever you want to do.
I'm just saying, if you're this know-it-all, then what do we do to solve week 0? Do we even need a week 0 then?
Did he tell you why we had the week 0? It's because of weather. They got to beat the weather.
I get that.
Because by the time we get to that championship,
so you're okay with week 0, at least where, again, if attendance is your issue, you're fine with week 0, at least where, again, a lot of these high schools deal with that attendance issue here in their local cities, wherever they may be, but we go to a neutral site, give these student athletes that opportunity to be a part of something.
That's cool.
Fantastic.
I'm just giving you my opinion. You don't like my opinion? That's fine.
Your opinion. It's terrible.
It's fine. I still believe you are the best team. You should have home field advantage and play at your home place.
I guarantee if you go out there and pull of that Sheridan team last year, would they have rather?
They would rather play at Homer Scott Stadium. I guarantee you they'd rather play there. I guarantee you Cheyenne East would rather play at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. Mm-hmm. That place gets jam-packed. It's not jam-packed out at War Memorial Stadium. It's maybe a 10th full, if that. It's just my opinion. And again,
a 10th full on a scale of, again, high school stadium stands to, again, a stadium that can sit, 40,000 or however.
I'm sorry, Nick, you can't convince me after seeing what I saw at the old Oakey Blanchard Stadium when East and Central, which would be your sophomore year, and they were lined up on the track. Both the old stands at Oakey were filled. Across the way, Central had filled their side, and they were about 3-4 deep on the track. You can't beat that. I'm sorry.
I can remember going up to Gillette where that Campbell County Stadium was not packed at all.
Because it was also snowing that day as well, as I remember.
It wasn't, not really, it was just very terrible weather, but it wasn't a foot of snow or anything.
But again, it was snowing. If it wasn't for 2 buses of you guys coming up there, it wouldn't have been a big crowd at all for Cheyenne fans. They did not want to make that trip.
Whatever.
Anyway.
Whatever. I don't understand your argument.
I'm just saying home.
He even explained it of, it's giving them opportunity, at least something to experience.
Again. I'm just issuing my opinion. Take my opinion for what it's worth. You don't like it? Fine. I understand. All right, we got to take a timeout. We are going to be back with more of Wyoming Sports Talk today after these words. First Tier Bank strives to remain competitive and offers some of the best CD rates in the community, as well as area banks and credit unions per Rate Watch reports. How does that make a difference to you? They can assist you in securing some of the best rates on CDs. They have a 16th-month CD at an APY of 2.05% and a 27th-month CD at an APY of 2.27%. You can feel confident that your finances are taken care of by a responsible, knowledgeable staff. First Tier Bank offers the personalized customer service you've grown accustomed to and deserve. Call 307-632-3500 and ask for Caitlin or Debbie, member FDIC and equal housing lender. Wow, it's hot enough out there to fry chicken. So now's the time to find ways to beat the heat, and Marv's Plumbing and Heating, 1515 Logan Avenue, is the best place to go to get cool. Marv's Plumbing and Heating, which provides complete air conditioning, installation, inspection, and repair services, is offering its air conditioning inspections for just $98. So beat the heat right now by calling Marv's Plumbing and Heating today at 316-7634. That's 316-7634. Paid for by Foster Freeze for Governor.
I'm Chuck Norris. You might know me as Walker, Texas Ranger, or as the man who counted to infinity twice. I usually don't get involved in politics, but my friend Foster Freeze isn't a politician. He's the real deal, a strong conservative outsider. I know a thing or two about fighting, and Foster will always fight for Wyoming. Politicians talk about protecting our families, our gun rights, and the sanctity of life. I know Foster has the courage to do what has to be done and knows where to draw the line. I'm counting on you and other strong conservatives to make sure Wyoming gets the fighter it deserves. Foster Freeze for governor.
I'm Foster Freeze. I'm a conservative businessman running for governor, and I humbly ask for your support.
Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast, only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day at Windmill and Del Range.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
For today, it'll be cloudy with thunderstorms likely in the afternoon with highs around 66. The tonight will continue to be cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 50. On Wednesday, it'll be mostly cloudy with a possible thunderstorm in the afternoon with highs around 70. And on Wednesday night, it'll continue to be mostly cloudy with the rain showers likely with lows around 52.
You bleed brown and gold? So do we. Wyoming Cowboys football and basketball is always front and center on this show. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's here on AM 1480 K-Ray.
right back on Wyoming Sports Talk today as we are nearing the top of the hour. Our next guest already in studio again. Once again, we want to thank Ron Laird, Wyoming High School Activities Association Commissioner.
Yeah.
Joining us in hour number one. And again, he's left open some good discussion for you and me.
Yeah, again, we'll have him on later, at least in the sports season, whether it's around state title game, once we get into the basketball, if this quadrant system becomes a interesting situation, or at least the travel is going to be interesting, and we'll see if teams kind of complain or if there's going to be issues, especially with this travel. I don't foresee it, but maybe it'll be a topic for him to discuss once we get into kind of basketball season. So
yeah, you gotta let it play out for a couple of years.
And again, we'll see if anything develops on softball as well too.
Yeah, I will say this, and I know we need to get to the top there.
Yeah.
I don't want to bury this thing. I don't want to put a knife in its heart.
What?
But I know when we did that quadrant for the old Western Athletic Conference, and I mentioned that yesterday with the athletic director, Mark Guap, it was not so much a failure, but what it did, though, and this year it will be fine, for the first season, but the next season we see different looks. It takes away some of those rivalries. And again, what we lost out of that.
You automatically lose the Casper rivalry.
I understand, but when we went to that WAC one under Commissioner Benson that time, we lost BYU, we lost Utah, we lost that right away, and we lost that for 3 years. Again, BYU.
Guess what? You've lost it for quite some time, and I don't think Wyoming fans really care.
I understand, but back then it was like, man, you're taking BYU away from us, and it was like, holy cow, and we didn't see them for 3 years, and then next thing you know, because of just those little mini rivalries that we used to.
And granted, rivalries are way different on the collegiate to high school. Where
I understand that.
Again, what was the main, especially here in the city of Cheyenne? What is your main rival? Especially going at East back in the day when it was East Central, your main rival was Central. Well, if you went to Central, your main rival was East, and then if you went out of the city of Cheyenne, it was Laramie.
And that's about it. Laramie's rival is East and Central.
Yeah.
Okay. But you know who their travel partner is?
But I'm just saying on my end, it was never.
I know, but their travel
Gillette's our
their
rival.
travel partner before South was Rock Springs.
Yeah,
so that
which
was
is just
technically their rival. So when East Central was
if you
playing,
want to call it a rival.
I know, but when they were playing East Central, they were playing Rock Springs. So again, like I said, I go back to the WAC days, and this is why the Mountain West formed, because the natural rivals were not there anymore.
It's more so interesting what's going to be, again, where you have that stacked northeast quadrant, especially with Thunder Basin and Campbell County, especially on the boys and girls side, both teams that did win the state championship last year in basketball. Again, a stacked Natrona County team, again, as well. Especially in basketball, they do well for themselves. Again, with Campbell County, with Thunder Basin, then adding Sheridan. There's 4 top-level schools right there in basketball.
Okay, so you run across, and then the one season you'll get
one of those teams is one of those teams that is going to miss out on regionals, possibly, or two, or however the seeding's going to work. They're going to go, hey, we had a fantastic product. It's almost a situation of West versus Eastern Conference in the NBA. Well, for instance, the Denver Nuggets, we had this record, which would have gained us the 2nd seed over here in the Eastern Conference.
Right.
Why aren't we going by a 16 seed, or why do we have to play over here, or why do we have to deal with this? I feel like that's going to be a small snowball effect going forward in years of going, hey, I'm a Thunder Basin team, or I'm a Natrona County team, or I'm a Sheridan team. I missed out on the playoffs. Well, these teams down here in the southeast with Cheyenne, with East, South, Central, and Laramie, they didn't have any record close to us, and they got in.
You answered your own question without even without even thinking about it. You know who's going to be the biggest squawkers? Basketball season, Thunder Basin and Gillette, Campbell County. They're going to be the biggest whiners about it, aren't they?
Possibly, if they're out.
Well, you just made the point.
I'm just saying Natrona could be as well, too. Sheridan, again, that's a stacked quadrant.
KW is a better basketball program than Natrona, so they're over on the west side.
Well,
so
they'll move over to the east in 2 years.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. All right, we do need to take a timeout. We're going to move into hour number 2, and our special guest coming up in hour number 2. We're back after these words right here in 1480 K-Ray.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Is your teenager ready to drive?
Come on, Mom. Let's go.
Sorry, you're not ready to drive yet.
What? Come on.
You need to complete a driver's ed class first.
The Wyoming-Montana Safety Council offers a complete driver's education program taught by Tim Woodard, former Laramie County School District's driver's ed teacher. Classes are starting soon. Please call 635-4592 to sign up or go to wmsafetycouncil.org. Wyoming, Montana Safety Council. Think safe, live safe.
As Cheyenne's weather turns warmer, dust and pollen can become a problem for those with allergies, asthma, or respiratory issues. And the last thing you want in the summer heat is poor air quality in your home or office. So it's time to turn to Marv's Plumbing and Heating. That's right, Cheyenne's most trusted plumbing, sewer, and heating business also services air conditioning. Marv's Plumbing and Heating, 1515 Logan Avenue, can handle all your air conditioning needs. Give them a call, 316-7634. That's 316-7634.
What you are about to hear is a sports talk radio show unlike any other that has ever before been broadcast in the capital city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, USA. This is Cheyenne, Wyoming's Sports Talk Authority. The Wyoming Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, the Colorado Rockies, and the Denver Nuggets. The show is local, it's regional, and yes, the show is national as well. Wyoming Sports Talk Today is on the air. If they're talking sports on the radio in Cheyenne, this is the place it happens. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today.
It is hour number 2 of Wyoming Sports Talk Today, being brought to you by some great sponsors. Marv's Plumbing and Heating at 1515 Logan Avenue. The Wyoming Montana Safety Council. Give Tim a call at 635-4592. Mondello's Pizzeria, Paisan Cuisine at its best 7 days a week at Mondello's. 1507 Stillwater Avenue. Sweet D in the Greenway Commons, directly across the street at 1508 Stillwater Avenue. It's First Tier Bank. Let Tim, and there's a great staff, always do your banking for you. Matter of fact, talk to them about their CD rates. Great APYs right now at First Tier Bank. Lennox Auto Body ×2. The Main Repair Center on Dunn Avenue. The Auto Glass and Detail Center. Yes, you will catch them over on Persian Boulevard. Medicap Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs and great sundry supplies inside. Medicap Pharmacy, same location as always, Bluegrass Circle, next door to Texas Roadhouse. Platte Valley Bank with 2 banking locations. Tim and the great staff over there at, Rick and the great staff over at Platte Valley Bank. You'll find them over on Vanda High. And, of course, Rick and the great staff over on the corner of College and
You're losing your mind.
I know. I'm old. I'm 110 years old.
We haven't even started football season. You're already
lost. I need to retire.
Oh, please.
Key of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. We got Chick-fil-A at the corner of Windmill and Del Range. Ray and Cindy. Yeah, I got them right. Right across from Menards. They serve a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. How about Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service on Highway 30? And, of course, today, see, one thing I don't forget is food.
What?
And it's Taco Tuesday over at Taco John's all day at all Taco John's.
You were shopping for lunch as we were stuck here, and you didn't go there. Why?
I was in a hurry to get some stuff here today.
All right.
Did you complain about the lunch that I got?
It would have been better if it was Taco John's.
I'm on it tomorrow.
All right.
You pay for it. All right.
I paid enough.
Yeah, right. We sell the equipment.
You're welcome for that trip down to Colorado Springs that you slept the whole way, yeah.
You see all the equipment on the table? I bought that. All right.
That's the station's equipment. It's not for me.
Came out of my pocket, pal. All right. By the way, our scoreboard today is being brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. We go to Nick and his extensive scoreboard.
I got nothing so far. At least nothing until tomorrow. But again, do want to remind folks it is Week 0 high school football action coming up this Friday, 7 o'clock kickoff between Thunder Basin and Cheyenne Central. It is the new era behind Coach Mike Apodaca over there at Risky Field. We will be there live. Pre-game 6:30 here on 1480 K-Ray, 101.1 FM, and 1480KRay.com. We might have something special as well, too, for that first home contest, or at least throughout the high school football season. But, again, not going to announce it just yet. We will when all things are figured out and fixed. But, again, right now we will be live at least Week 0 football, high school football action is upon us coming up this Friday.
All right, Major League Baseball games that'll get underway when we get off the air will be the Phils and the Nationals. Nationals doing a little bit of a fire sale today. Daniel Murphy, gone. Matt Adams, gone.
They're all worthless.
Who else is going to go bye-bye?
One Bryce Harper.
I don't know.
There is rumors.
Yeah.
One Chris Bolton had to send a little text to me about a potential Dodger pickup.
A Dodger sighting for Bryce Harper. So the Nationals are saying adios to this season. The Braves will be at the Pirates, Orioles, and the Blue Jays in the Rogers Center. Indians and the Bo Sox at Fenway. Cubs and the Motor City Kitties of Detroit at Comerica. Giants and the Mets at Citi Field without Brandon Nimmo, who is now officially on the 10-day DL with the finger injury. It will be the Yanks and the Marlins at Marlins Park, Royals, Rays, and the Trop. 6 o'clock games, Reds at the Brewers, Twins will be at the White Sox, Padres and the Rockies, 6:40 at Coors Field, with Tyler Anderson getting the nod for Colorado towing the rubber for the Padres will be Robbie Erlin. 7 o'clock games will have the Angels at the Diamondbacks in interleague play. Cardinals will face off with the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine. Rangers Athletics in the Oco tonight. The front-running swinging A's with the front-running Houston Astros as they're tied for first in the AL West. They'll take on the M's at Safeco. Our scoreboard.
I'm down in the green and gold today.
That's right. Our scoreboard brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne.
Hi, I'm Alex White, tea master at Pure Leaf. When I make tea, everything I know goes into it. You can't be impatient. When I craft Pure Leaf iced tea, I don't take shortcuts, because I want you to have the same amazing taste of iced tea that I do. So I start with fresh picked tea leaves. Then, after they're delicately dried, I blend and brew them at a lower temperature to draw out their unique aromas. And then I taste and fine-tune the blend for a delicious smooth iced tea. I'd love to have you take a sip right now, but that's one thing we can't do over the radio. But you can experience the same delicious taste of Pure Leaf iced tea anywhere you are. I'm Alex White, Pure Leaf Tea Master. Pure Leaf, our thing is tea.
Taco John's presents Olay the Day Pep Talks.
Boys, I know you take great pride in being prairie dogs, but a mascot needs more sizzle. And what has more sizzle than Taco John's new sirloin steak burritos? So meet your new mascot, a sirloin steak burrito.
Taco John's new sirloin steak burritos are loaded with steak and bold flavors like cheesesteak, steak and potato, and steak and shrimp.
God, Wachowski, stop eating the mascot.
Olay the Day at Taco John's.
The time is now, and the place to go is Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service for their annual model clearance sale of Jayco RVs and fifth wheels. This is your year to travel the countryside, and what better way with your Jayco RV from Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service. And to put you on the road today, save 30% on their annual model clearance. Their savings are always the best on whatever model you select. Come see and take home your favorite today when you buy from Jolly Rogers RV Sales and Service at 6102 East Highway 30 in Cheyenne, or go online to jollyrogersrvs.com. Is your free checking account no longer free? Lose those checking account fees and lose the hassle by switching to Platte Valley Bank's Value Checking and experience truly free checking. With Platte Valley Bank's Value Checking, there is no minimum balance required, unlimited check writing, no per check charge, no monthly service charge, free net banking, free e-statements, free bill pay, free mobile banking, and Platte Valley Bank customers can use their debit cards at any ATM anywhere absolutely free. So stop by Platte Valley Bank today and lose those fees with Value Checking.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
For today, it'll be cloudy with thunderstorms likely in the afternoon with highs around 66. For tonight, it'll continue to be cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 50. On Wednesday, it'll be mostly cloudy with a possible thunderstorm in the afternoon with highs around 70. And on Wednesday night, it'll continue to be mostly cloudy with the rain showers likely with lows around 52.
Got something to say? Then get it off your chest right now. Phone lines are open at 307-514-1071. Make your opinion count and call the show. Wyoming Sports Talk today.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk. Today it's hour number 2. We get the opportunity. It's Athletic Director Week, and we get to talk to the newest athletic director in the Cheyenne area over at Laramie County Community
We've
College.
already talked to him, but he was up in Idaho. Now he's planted here in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
yeah.
This is the first time he's in studio. So.
And you interrupt me for that?
Yeah,
okay. All right, anyway.
For folks who have not, may have just joined the show or something.
Clark Rasmussen joins us. And Clark, first and foremost, welcome officially here to Cheyenne, and we're glad you're on Wyoming Sports Talk today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Let me ask you this question. You hit the ground running, and I know because we met right away back in June. I mean, and it seems like it's so long ago, but I mean, it had to be a whirlwind for you because here we are. We're already into the athletic season at LCCC.
Yeah, I think it still is a whirlwind. Scott had done such a good job of getting everything going, and so to keep up with that, hit the ground running. There's no time to not be running. So.
Now, have you had the opportunity? Do you have family? Is family coming with you? How does this all come about?
That's funny. I actually flew back to Idaho on Thursday and drove my family out just Sunday.
Wow.
So they just got here. So, we're excited. School starts in a week for them, and they're excited for a new chapter in life.
Now, the first thing, and I remember last year we had our coaches show, and we brought the student athletes in with both Coach Ortmeyer and Coach Ficka, and to a T with the young ladies and the young men, they said, Cheyenne, there's nothing to do after 9:30, 10 o'clock. Is it a little bit of a culture shock for you per se, or we're in that age group now where it's like, I'm done with work, I'm gonna go home, flip out a ball game.
The cool thing about not having my family here, I'm a family guy, so not having them here has allowed me to stay at work later and get the stuff done that I've needed to. And so now that, yesterday was the first day, work day since I've been here, and it was kind of like I went home on time. And my wife, it was just like it had continued from when I was at CSI. So it was a good thing not to have them here for the first little bit so that I could get my feet underneath me. But it's time to get into some routines and some normalcy again.
Kind of carrying off the Scott Noble at least tradition, where when we talked with him quite a few times, again, he was there late nights. Well, again, late nights there at LCCC. So again,
let me ask you this question: differences that you have seen, or I guess identicals from CSI College of Southern Idaho to LCCC?
I think there's quite a bit of differences in the sense of the actual institution themselves, but that's everywhere you go. All organizations are ran differently. When it comes to the actual athletics side of it, the talent's there. The talent's the same. The coaches, same caliber of coaches. We're playing in a different region, but it's very similar. Very similar way that Scott's ran the program here at LCCC and other athletic directors, and really, honestly, credit goes to the coaches.
Talk about those athletic programs as, again, we're getting ready very quickly coming up this weekend. Also, too, volleyball will be in action coming up tomorrow. But just talk about these programs that you are inheriting, at least being a part of LCCC this season. Again, we look at volleyball where we mentioned they're 12th overall. I do believe at least that number, again, nationally ranked. Women's soccer, number 2 in the nation as well. Men's program had a little rough year, but they are a program that can rebuild and under Vince Gibson have been a nationally ranked team, a team that can make it to that national tournament. But for you, what is that kind of feeling being a part of this LCCC crew and watching these teams where they are set in stone and they are, again, majority of them are top dogs across the nation?
Yeah, I mean, really, it makes my job easy in that aspect because these coaches have got such a grasp on what they're doing. Their style of student athlete that they're bringing in is set. They're not questioning anything as for how their program's to be ran. One thing, for example, Coach Albers, last year was the first year that he made it to the national tournament, and now going to the national tournament's not okay for him anymore. It's going to the national tournament, winning some games, and he's going to. We're looking at a different style of volleyball team than he's ever had because he's able to recruit more skilled, possibly more skilled athletes. And that's not saying anything bad against the alumni that have come through. They've actually paved that way and allowed for him to make this adjustment. So, yeah, I think the thing that I need to do is really get out of their way, let them do what they're best at, and provide them the best opportunity to be as successful as possible.
Clark Rasmussen join us here, LCCC Athletic Director. You said something before we were talking, before Nick asked you the question, you were talking about Scott Noble. And again, Scott paved the way, so to speak. So whoever came in the door, and I think Vince did a good job, in his absence. It's now Clark Rasmussen's job. Your philosophy as an athletic director, I'm sure you've had a chance to sit down and talk with staff and, express things that you would like to see how the programs go, I guess. I don't know. Tell us a little bit what you are looking for out of your coaches and student athletes.
What some of the things that I've asked our coaches to do that might be different from what Scott did. I've asked them to go out in the community and get involved, and I've tasked them with one community service project each month with their teams, and that's something that's different. And the reason that I think that's important is, LCCC junior college as a whole has a unique student athlete, or a unique type of student athlete. And they're special people, and the more that the community can see what type of student athlete they are, the better I think that we could get with support from the community. Other than that, you're moving on to GPA expectations as a department is the same as what Scott had. It was a 3.0. We expect that, and it's a high expectation. For them to be eligible at the NJCAA level is a 2.0. For them to go on to a Division I, it's a 2.5. We are raising the bar a little bit higher and focusing on that 3.0 GPA, because we do believe and we emphasize the student part of student athlete, and it's important in their lives.
One of the nice things too, and I know we have been big promoters of Laramie County Community College, not just with the relationship with LCCC, but with our 3 high schools, South, Central, and Cheyenne East, and again, reminding those student athletes that you do have another course. You may not be ready for the D1 or D2 level, but again, you can possibly walk on. You might get offered a scholarship, but again, I'm starting to see more of an interest from our student athletes leaving the high school ranks, wanting to come out to Laramie County Community College.
Yeah, I hope that they want to. One thing that we're learning, or that these high school students can learn from LCCC, is these coaches have connections all throughout the country. Coach Ficka's connected. Coach Albers is connected. Coach Gibson's connected. Coach Gardner's connected. Coach Ortmeyer's. They're all connected. Even our rodeo, Coach Glaus, we just hired him. This is his first year, and they're all connected at the Division I level, Division II, NAIA, whatever the aspirations are of the local high school students, wherever they want to go, or the end goal. Come check us out, because we can get them there.
Well, is that something where, again, as you talk with these teams trying to do community outreach here in the city of Cheyenne, is that kind of also to a little bit of promotion of saying, hey, here's what our student athletes are? Or to simplify the question, is it something where your goal to get out to these 3 high schools around town and go, hey, we have these programs, look at what they're doing, here's the possibilities? It's a similar situation what we did with having Coach Ficka, or any coach that we've had from LCCC, of at least expressing of, hey, you have this athlete, they're moving on to, whether it is, you have Atlanta Talifero moving to Fairfield College, or moving on to that next level. But do you kind of foresee that in your time at LCCC, of going out to these high schools and trying to push, of going, hey, you don't need to step to the University of Wyoming just yet. We have great programs as well, too, at least athletics. Come on over here, get your education, build up to something great, and then move on to that bigger and better level.
Yeah, I would say that's part of the goal. The other part of the goal, too, I think it's double-edged sword, is any of our student athletes moving on to the Division I, Division II, or NAIA level, they're required to do this anyways. So it's just us raising that bar, creating that expectation of something that they're already going to have to do when they move on. The other thing is, reaching out to the local elementary schools, because if we can get them involved with us at LCCC, how many times do you come in to a gym and see a 7-footer? Not very often. You can come out to LCCC, you can see a 7-footer play basketball who not only can dunk it, but he has a little bit of agility and some skill within that 15-foot range. You go to the soccer field and you've got athletes that are hitting it from 35 feet out, even farther than that, and it's something you don't see. I guess it's just the next level.
Well, and the thing I always see too with the JUCOs, and also I want to mention too, with Coach Gardner and now Rebecca Valdez, you already have that inside to the high schools already with community college coaches, also coaching at the high school level. But what I'm looking at, if you are going to go to that 4-year school, for example, your freshman year, your sophomore year, you're basically not going to go into your major. You're going to be taking care of your core classes before you do anything. And usually if you're in a 4-year school, you are going to get redshirted, possibly may not play until maybe your sophomore year, unless you are an elite type of athlete. Not saying that we don't have elite athletes here, but at LCCC, I look back to, like you said, Landon Talaferro. We go back to Elijah Oliver. I mean, these guys came in to the basketball program for Coach Ficca, and they made immediate impact. So, again, these student athletes have that opportunity to get onto the floor, get onto the field, and be an impact player.
Yeah, and immediately, which is awesome. The other cool thing is, you come out to LCCC and you can get into a class that has maybe 30 other students in it, where you go to the University of Wyoming and you might have 250 students in a biology class. So the actual ability to get in with an instructor and learn, that ratio, smaller ratios are always a better thing for certain people, including myself. And so that's what, that's an advantage of coming to junior college as well.
Do you feel, now that you are fully arrived at LCCC, do you feel you are at something very special, especially in the field of athletics? Because I've seen it over the last few years. I'm seeing the emergence of that excitement. You want to play sports at LCCC.
Yeah, you want to. And that also, here goes credit again to the coaches. The coaches, these aren't just normal high school. That sounds degrading to a high school coach, but it's really not. They know what they're doing. They're good, and they can develop. They can develop you, and that's not only development at an athletic level, but that's development academic as well.
We need to take a break here, but go ahead.
Well, we can certainly take that break if you want.
Okay, we are talking with LCCC Athletic Director Clark Rasmussen. We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll have more of our discussion with him after these words.
Is your teenager ready to drive?
Come on, Mom. Let's go.
Sorry, you're not ready to drive yet.
What? Come on.
You need to complete a driver's ed class first.
The Wyoming-Montana Safety Council offers a complete driver's education program taught by Tim Woodard, former Laramie County School District's driver's ed teacher. Classes are starting soon. Please call 635-4592 to sign up or go to wmsafetycouncil.org. Wyoming-Montana Safety Council. Think safe, live safe.
Hello, this is Pastor Nathaniel Ensley with Blessed Hope Baptist Church in Burns, Wyoming, and I would like to invite you to listen to our weekly broadcast entitled Hope for Today, right here on 1480 K-Ray, every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Our goal during each broadcast is to bring you a simple and short Bible truth that will be a help to you. Sure hope you can tune in. God bless you.
Are you looking for a pharmacist who will actually take the time to talk to you? Then come to Medicap Pharmacy. We're dedicated to healthcare only, which means we'll fill your prescription quickly, and then we'll make time to listen, answer your questions, explain your prescriptions, and tell you about possible drug interactions.
Medicap Pharmacy. We'll always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Here the season never ends. From Wyoming sports to the Broncos in Denver. From Rockies baseball to talking hoops with Nuggets basketball. Local, regional, and national. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, right here on AM 1480 K-Ray.
We are back on Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Clark Rasmussen from LCCC. Clark, as you stepped into the AD's office now, and obviously you've set up a game plan, and again, don't know how long your tenure is going to be, and again, that's entirely up to you, how long you want to be around at LCCC. The question that I would ask you is, what have you set as a goal for yourself and for the athletic programs during your time here?
I don't know that I have any personal goals coming out of it. I think, too, it might not be just my decision, but President Schaefer's as well on how long I stay here. But Some of the goals I would like to see the athletes that come through. I would like to see them be successful. The most gratifying thing that I could have personally is when you see somebody come into the college, and who has, for the lack of better words, is deficient in something, whether it's athletically or academically, and to see them develop personally themselves is more rewarding to me than anything else.
Where does at least facilities rank up on your at least list there of maybe things to get done there at LCCC? Now, it's nothing awful, but Scott Noble, again, before you were here, tried to get that bond issue passed to elevate and at least get additions or at least improvements, at least for athletics or at LCCC, among other things as well, too, for the campus as a whole. Is that something that's kind of on your radar as well, too, of maybe trying to follow in those footsteps or at least try to improve those facilities for instance, for basketball, for volleyball, maybe even soccer as well, too, across LCCC?
Yeah, that is. I mean, it's always on the radar for that. And there's always been conversations. There has been conversations, I should say, since June, since I've been here, regarding the facilities and the upgrades and everything that we need. And it's a goal. Yeah, that's a goal, I guess. But that's not. That's part of what I can contribute to LCCC and the athletes. And that also will help the coaches with the recruiting process. So as the facilities do get better, as we make some small changes with what we have until we can get a major facility renovation or new facility, then I think the goal for us is just to deal with those small things until the big ones come.
With you being an outsider, and this is kind of more of a tongue-in-cheek question for you, Clark, but again, as you've seen other facilities, you were part of the College of at least Southern Idaho, are we making a big deal of our facilities here in Cheyenne with LCCC? Is it really that bad, or have you seen worse across at least your college kind of career as being a part of it, at least athletics?
I've definitely seen worse. There's always worse out there. But there also is opportunity for growth. There's opportunity for development with that, and to say that they're bad facilities, it would be. I think that's pretty harsh, because they're not. But there are better out there. Yeah.
In your time that you are here, and I know we've talked to some of our other coaches, even summer sports, softball, with the Cheyenne Extreme, and we talked with our Legion coaches as well as our Connie Mack coaches as well. Baseball, the subject comes up. Obviously, baseball is played just about everywhere but here.
Sure.
And we had the discussion with the Wyoming High School Activities Association commissioner. Going to be tough to get a high school baseball in this town. Is that something that, again, this could be both a Title IX, men and women, softball for the women, obviously, and baseball for the men. Is that something that you might entertain? Is that something we can possibly, put out there in front of people?
I'm a baseball guy. I played baseball in college, and I would love to see baseball come over here to Cheyenne. But then again, I'm a realist, and I need to be able to see what the Februarys and Marches are like here, what the climate's like. And
could it be a fall program though?
I would say no, and the reason I would say no is the NJCAA plays it in the spring. And that season goes from February 1 until the World Series is in the first part of June, and so the season is such for here in Cheyenne, it really isn't making a whole lot of sense right now.
Right, and I remember seeing when I was on the road with the basketball teams too, Otero, Trinidad. When we're down there in February and they're playing baseball, and I got to thinking about that too, and I said, hey, I'm wondering, if LCCC has considered it, and obviously
how much snow do they have down there at that time?
None. It's actually, we were in short sleeves a couple times down there too in February. So
sure, yeah.
But yeah, just was wondering if you were considering that.
Well, and with Post 6 and the Mustangs being such they're good, they're great programs. It would make sense for us athletically. It would make sense for us with enrollment to get it going. But the one thing I think that the hiccup would be is the weather and the time of year.
Now, do you let's just say, for argument's sake, we could put this plan into place. Is this something where you would LCCC be able to have the availability of a Powers Field or a Pioneer Park to instead of building a facility out at LCCC, or would you like to? A perfect world, you like to build a facility out there?
Yeah, I mean, a perfect world would be that. But I think that when you're trying to get a program started, when you're trying to create opportunities for kids to play a sport that they love at the collegiate level, yeah, you take all things into consideration. Yeah, there's no reason why you wouldn't go somewhere else and play.
So as we're into the fall sports programs right now, and again, do you try to get out to as many events? Do you travel as well when the teams are on the road? I mean, what is your calendar going to? Because your dance card's going to fill up in a hurry, as we already know. Just trying to get you to come on board and going out and meeting with you.
Yeah, it's already busy as it is, a lot of meetings, but I can foresee that slowing down a little bit. And I'll travel as needed. I don't think that it's something that I need to start traveling just to say that I'm traveling with everybody, especially where there's trust already with the coaches. There's trust there, and really to have somebody just following along might just get in the way. So
athletic directors are the rah-rah types, especially here, in your position at LCCC. And again, too, I think when we come to January, legislatures will get together, and again, budgets are always brought up, and community colleges are always in the mix as well as University of Wyoming. Is that something too where you need to be a liaison for the LCCC athletic department? You need to get out to in front of our senators, our state legislators, and talk with them and say, hey, we are this group of folks out here.
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to get in front of them and share the message of junior college athletics. And if they don't understand what it is, then I'd challenge them to come and see what it's about, and the opportunities that we're creating. Because if you're just putting all your money into a 4-year college, and especially here in Wyoming with the opportunities that we're creating for high school students to go on is minimal if we're going there.
Give them that opportunity to go watch the regional tournament, at least here in Cheyenne over at Story Gym. Now, at least with that coming into town, that's got to be huge. And again, huge promotion for LCCC. Not to basically spoil anything, but are we looking during that time when we do have that big tournament happening here again with our kind of prestigious volleyball team with Coach Austin Albers? Is it something that you're kind of looking at taking a massive opportunity of putting LCCC on the map, or at least spreading the word around Cheyenne of going, hey, here's what we are. We're hosting this tournament. This is what our volleyball program's all about. Is that something you're looking forward to, of taking great advantage of?
Yeah, of course. And that's something that I think that we got to figure out how to share that message and who to connect with. I think Coach Albers right now is already connected with the volleyball world here in Cheyenne. But yeah, for us, we've got a great development committee at LCCC. We've got a foundation that supports us heavily and that have connections, and that is something that we will be reaching out and promoting that.
With the athletic directors that we talk with, again, on our high school side, and matter of fact, most recently Mark Puev yesterday, talking about students versus coaches or parents versus coaches, and you being the head administrator, are you more of that mediator type of guy? Are you that type of person that you will go to Coach Pro Eddie here and say, hey, Nick is, I looked at the grades this morning, Nick's, 2.1, he either picks it up or he's not going on the next road trip. Tell us a little bit what your involvement is at that type of level.
I think my involvement at that level would be more, I'd be a little more intrusive at that level than I would be at the X's and O's. One thing that I tell the coaches all the time, I'm not going to come in and step on your toes with X's and O's, because I believe that they were hired to do that position, to do that. But I believe that's, they do need somebody who can come in and advocate for the academic side, or maybe possibly the disciplinary side. And I think that's where I can step in and definitely and help them, be an assistance instead of being somebody who comes in and just tells them and mandates and tells them what they have to do.
And keeping on that theme with student athletes and parents, is that something where you can kind of say, or at least to folks who may be tuning in or at least going to be attending LCCC, that you have that kind of open door policy of where if parents do have an issue, for instance, as we talked with Mark Puev, where some parents, not majority, but say, hey, my kid is not getting enough play time, just come talk to me and we'll maybe talk about something. Or, hey, if a student is having issues with a coaching staff or maybe something academic, hey, come talk to me and I'll be that kind of voice, or at least that someone you can talk to. Is that kind of your policy?
No, no, not really. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like we are dealing with adults now. They're 18 years old. Now there is still a learning curve. So we're not expecting them to act like adults the day that they turn 18. But there is a learning process. And so if a parent has an issue, what my first comment will be, has your son or daughter gone and spoken with their coach? There's really no reason for me to have a big conversation with a parent about playing time, especially when I'm not going to be stepping on coach's toes about the X's and O's or playing time, when that student athlete can learn that it's their job now as an adult to go and speak with that coach. And I think every single one of our coaches would give plenty of time to that student athlete if they had a concern about something, and talk them through what they can do to earn playing time. So really, I in my experience so far, I haven't dealt with a lot of parents, and that would be my response, is to send the athlete to the coach to talk, and then we can chat.
During this newest administration in Washington, D.C., and it looks like times are getting a little bit better for the country, is college still the thing to do? Are we seeing kids that are getting out of high school their senior year and may not all go to four-year schools, but looking at the JUCOs, is LCCC looking at some increased enrollment?
Dr. Schaefer gave a nice presentation yesterday. And over the last couple of years, it has not been increasing, but I don't think it's been decreasing a huge, dramatic amount. And so, I hope they can still consider going to college. I hope so.
Final thought, and again, thank you for coming on board too. We do appreciate you coming by and chatting with us today. We, Mick and myself, and a lot of me last year, being out at inside the rack and watching basketball, calling games, I noticed that you had really good fan support. And again, the community, and I saw a lot of community, advertisers from our radio station that would come out and watch games. Have you got anything in place, like a Golden Eagle Booster Club? Tell us a little bit what thing, because again, this all seems to get chucked down on the arms of the athletic director. So what do you got going in place for athletics in the Booster Club?
So we got a couple things going on right now. We got a group called the Flight Crew. Flight Crew it's $1,000 to be a member of the Flight Crew, and that money goes 100% to scholarships for athletes. And that gets you, there's some return on that. You get some season passes. You get recognized, and you get to have, a little bit of a closer connection with the student athletes. And so the Flight Crew, it's definitely an important thing. And that actually was a Scott Noble thing, with Scott Noble and Billy Adelman kind of came up with that concept. And really, luckily, this is the first year that we've done it, so I've been able to kind of follow through with that. One of the things that I've also brought in that we've got new this year are courtside seats. So if you're familiar with the gym and the way that the structure of the gym is, you got all of the bleachers on the one side behind the team benches. This year, starting with volleyball, we actually have padded seats that are the same as the benches on the other side. So as you walk in, they will be sitting there courtside. So they are reserved. So if you purchase one of those, then it's your seat for the season. So that's an awesome thing.
Regarding the Flight Crew or purchasing season tickets, anything like that, not to put you on the spot, but how is that something that folks, if they want to be that generous out of their pockets, is that something they contact you, the school? How do they go about doing it?
Yeah, you can send us you can contact us. Go to the website of golccc.com, look up my email address or my phone number, give me a call, and I can get you set up with that. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Clark, thank you so much. Really looking forward to working with you. And again, I know we will be in touch with most of the coaches throughout the course of the campaign, but looking forward to catching up with you during the basketball season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Clark Rasmussen, Athletic Director at Laramie County Community College. We appreciate him dropping by on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Take a time out. We'll be right back after these words. Wow, it's hot enough out there to fry chicken. So now's the time to find ways to beat the heat, and Marv's Plumbing and Heating, 1515 Logan Avenue, is the best place to go to get cool. Marv's Plumbing and Heating, which provides complete air conditioning, installation, inspection, and repair services, is offering its air conditioning inspections for just $98. So beat the heat right now by calling Marv's Plumbing and Heating today at 316-7634. That's 316-7634. Chick-fil-A is a proud supporter of our high school athletes at East, Central, and South. May the school year bring success to all of you. Before you start your day, stop by Chick-fil-A for a hearty, delicious, and satisfying breakfast, only at Windmill and Del Range. Breakfast is served Monday through Saturday from 6 in the morning till 10:30 a.m. Breakfast with Chick-fil-A, the most important meal of the day at Windmill and Del Range.
Are you thinking about purchasing a home? Then Platte Valley Bank can help. With Platte Valley Bank, you can count on local decisions and expect to work with an experienced staff to design a loan to fit your needs. Just log on to pvbank.com and fill out our online application. We have money to lend, and at Platte Valley Bank, we are in the business of fulfilling dreams, enriching lives, and building our community one loan at a time.
All loans subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Giant Auto Repair and Service, proven and respected when it comes to the care of your vehicle. For nearly 25 years, Cars has been there to repair and fix those minor problems to get you back on the road without major difficulties. And now, as we do more traveling at this time of year, see Giant Auto Repair and Service first for your car or truck when it comes to tuning it up, an oil change, brakes, shocks, work on your air conditioning unit, and so much more. John and his crew at Cars gives your vehicle the precise detail it deserves. Respected with quality workmanship. Always bring your vehicle to Shine Auto Repair and Service at 604 West Lincoln Way. Call for an appointment at 632-0498. Open Monday through Friday.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
For today, it'll be cloudy with thunderstorms likely in the afternoon with highs around 66. For tonight, it'll continue to be cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 50. On Wednesday, it'll be mostly cloudy with a possible thunderstorm in the afternoon with highs around 70. And on Wednesday night, it'll continue to be mostly cloudy with rain showers likely with lows around 52.
Tired of lazy and predictable sports talk radio? We know you are. This is Cheyenne's new sports radio home. It's Wyoming Sports Talk Today, and it's right here on AM 1480 K-Ray.
I was watching Nick. He was kind of giving me the, let's hurry up sign, and I was like, I know I have one more question to ask Clark, and that was about the Booster Club, because again, one of the things that, and again, it's not the Thunderdome, it's not the Fieldhouse, it's not South High, but you know what? When you pack in about 600 people in there, it really is loud.
Well,
and it's a lot of fun.
That's why I again, as a kidding joke, or at least a question with Clark, is the rack at LCCC really that bad? And again, we've heard your tales of Trinidad and a few other spots around Region 9 where, it's something that, and again, with any athletic department or, again, with facilities, you always want to improve to the bigger, better thing. But it's something also, too, where it's more so not to detract fans, especially here at LCCC, of going, we have these fantastic products out here, whether it is basketball, men and women, and volleyball, that the rack is not really that bad to go watch a contest out there. It's nothing like a Trinidad where it's pretty rough or anything like that.
Trinidad is.
It's not great, but it's not a bad spot to go watch a contest.
Actually, if I look at a couple places where we were at, let me think here. Lamar was really nice facilities. NJC had really nice facilities. Then you go look at like an Eastern Wyoming College. Well, they don't draw flies, so it's a gymnasium where we're at on this side, and there's hardly anybody there to see it. And what I like about LCCC, even though we're on one side, like Clark says, we're behind both benches, you at least have enough people. It's cozy.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives it that real good home court advantage. You know, some of the places that they play in these bigger buildings, there's just not enough people in these things to start a good fight. Powell, actually, I remember last year when we were supposed to do a doubleheader, but we ended up only doing the girls' game. Very nice facility at Powell. So, you know, you run into some good places, and you run into some older places that have not had any work done. But I can tell you, after being in the rack last year, they have done some improvements since the last time I called a game out.
But it's nothing, at least, again, where it's new and fresh like every athletic department would love to have. Again, especially as a student athlete or a fan, hey, we'd love to have something brand new. Again, does have some issues where, for instance, with the volleyball, at least Region 9, regionals happen here in Cheyenne. Again, had to move it over to Story Gym, as we talked with Austin Albers about a month ago, where the reason why it's not at the rack is that it does not meet the roof does not meet the requirements of Region 9 for at least the volleyball requirements to host it there. So it is still, you know, that is somewhat of a shame that you are not able to hold it there on campus, but it is doable. Hey, it's still in Cheyenne over at Story Gym, but you would love it to have it there on your home campus. But, you know, again, it's not bad. It's not a bad place to go see a contest. Again, it could use some improvements, which any athletic department would love to have. But, you know, that's, at least talking with Clark, his, at least one of his goals, probably not the main one, and there's nothing wrong with that, but something he would love to do is try and improve those facilities out there. And again, hopefully on this side, he can get that done.
Well, and being the new guy on the block, and again too, it's Clark.
And again,
it's Clark Rasmussen's athletic department, and the guy is being tugged, you know, 8 different ways. You know, he's also an administrator, so
he's still got to settle down into
you know, answer to the president. He's also got to be in front of the coaches. He's also, you know, making sure that the student athletes are doing their thing, making sure they're housed, they're fed, blah blah blah. You know, you go right down the list. He's got to come up with ideas. He's an idea guy. He's not there just to sit down and just
take a paycheck
and make sure all of the programs go off a schedule and schedule games. So you know, an athletic director, and I think even we got that out of Mark Poiv yesterday too. Even at the high school level, it's I think they look forward.
It's essentially
when they get a couple of months.
I was going to say, essentially they're not coaching, but they have the same kind of schedule as a coach, or at least they are just as involved. And again, the time frame, again, where you are working extra hours, trying to make sure, again, grades are good, folks, or at least student athletes are healthy, they are being educated, they have everything that they need in front of them.
Trying to do a little fundraising as well. So I mean, again, you're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So we wish him all the best. And again, as he comes into place, and you got that sense from him too, that, you know, like I said, it's Clark Rasmussen as the athletic director now. Scott is gone.
Scott left building blocks for Clark to build upon.
And Vince made sure when Vince Gibson was named the interim athletic director, he made sure everything still ran. You know, he kept the administration portion of the athletic department running because he could do that. He wasn't involved with soccer. He was into the spring sports, and he was able to make sure everything kept on an even flow. Now that Clark comes in, he's got his ideas, some things that are put into play. Will expand on them, maybe turn them into bigger and better things too. So we wish him all the best, and again, looking forward with our continued relationship with LCCC. What else we got going on here today?
We got about 11 minutes, 10 minutes or so.
We got baseball tonight. And again,
I guess baseball. Yeah, other than what the Oakland A's, Giants, you won in a oddball way against the Mets. Go figure. On a routine fly out, you win. You walk off.
I'll take it.
Yeah, what a weird way to win.
I'm cheap. I'll take a win any way I can right now.
But again, baseball, at least playoff race is starting to form, or at least, again, we're starting to get a good understanding. The West doesn't want to at least decide a winner, especially in American League and National League, where it's still a toss-up. You could even, again, for both divisions, it's a 3-team race where, again, in the NL West, Rockies obviously in it, Diamondbacks leading, Dodgers cannot toss out as much as Dodgers. I can't figure out that team. They want to win, they don't want to win, they want to blow games, they want to lose in a walk-off.
Did they rush back Kenley Jansen?
We'll see. Only time will tell on that one. I would not say.
Like he said last night, he was flat. You know, and again too, I think
maybe that was
necessity. The Dodgers rushed him back.
Maybe that was a desperation move. Clearly, especially with that bullpen having massive issues for about 2 weeks now. Maybe it was a situation where you maybe rushed him a little too fast, but only time will tell if this is a continuing problem for him. But he's also too a professional where he is that good as a closer that he could maybe overcome that. But we will see. Rockies, this is a team. I try to write them off. I still don't. I don't. In my heart,
don't write them off.
I don't believe that they will be a playoff team at this point. But again,
the pen is what scares you.
Yeah.
I mean, again, does Kenley Jansen, does he get straightened out? Yeah, I believe he will.
Yeah.
Wade Davis, he's up and down. I don't know.
He gets you saves, but also he
Adam
costs.
Ottavino, he's up and down. Brian Shaw, don't know. Jake McGee, you don't know. But, the thing with the Rockies is they're solid. The 7 position players, the 8 position players are solid. And I think they're solid starting pitching.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, again, after the 6th inning, it's a crapshoot.
Again, you're looking at a same team of what we saw last year that faltered in the wild card. Again, right now they do have a good positioning compared to last season. Again, you don't have the Dodgers who were cruising through at least winning that NL West like last year, but they do have a shot to win the West. Do I see it happening? I don't, especially with Arizona. Arizona is that team that is not going away.
But Arizona has shown that they are immortal as well, too.
All 3 teams have. Dodgers are showing it right now. The Rockies have shown it 2 weeks ago.
The Rockies always kind of play around with teams that are not good, like the Padres.
Yeah, this is going to be a key series.
This is a very
This is something they should easily sweep at home. I mean, they should, but it's teams like this where it kind of catches you off guard. And
they fart around, and then the next thing you know, they lose. They lose 2 or 3, or they're swept. So we're going to see what happens here. Interesting, we mentioned this when we were doing the scoreboard. The Washington Nationals traded second baseman Daniel Murphy to the Cubs today, and then they turned around and sent first baseman Matt Adams to the Cardinals. Now, the Cubs sent a Class A infielder and the infamous player to be named later of cash considerations to Washington for Murphy. The Cardinals just sent cash considerations to the Nationals for Adams. So it's unclear.
And want to continue off that theme as Chris Bolton, and Dodger extraordinaire fan, passed along at least a MLB. Not saying it's a rumor thing, but it was kind of a piece for you to click on. But apparently Dodgers reportedly claimed Bryce Harper off of revocable waivers, but he will remain with the Nationals, according to MLB.com. So,
and again, I'm here with the Nationals right now, and this is what it says here with Murphy. It's unclear where Murphy will play in Chicago. Javier Baez having an MVP caliber season right now for Chicago. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Murphy is a second baseman.
He's probably a utility tool. You can move him around there somewhere.
Starting third baseman Chris Bryant is currently on the DL with the shoulder injury.
I don't think he's taken over the third base, but maybe fill in.
He has experience at playing third. Yeah,
fill in for time being. But right now for the Nationals, it's pretty much that was the nail in the coffin. They are done. It's the right time. And I'm surprised they didn't move, at least move more pieces during the trade deadline, especially with a Bryce Harper, where if, with this Dodger rumor mill kind of swirling around Bryce Harper, I'm surprised you didn't get more bang for your buck possibly with him. But this is a smart move by the Nationals. It's the right move. It's something you could foresee. It's a team that, again, it's kind of like what we saw with the Denver Nuggets of years ago under, again, George Karl. You make it to the playoffs, but you can't do anything.
Yeah,
you're not doing anything. You're not going anywhere. Again, you're just getting to that first round and then just kind of sputtering out. All right, it gets to the point where, we need to change. If this is all this group can do, maybe it's time to start fresh, get some new pieces in, and hopefully move past this little hump, at least this hill that we can't get over.
Well, here's a couple of things here. Nationals general manager Mike Rizzo said the trade gives his team financial flexibility for the 2019 2019 season. So already telling you we've cashed in this year.
Oh, yeah.
He said he believes in players remaining on his roster. And then in an open letter to the team's fans, Nationals owner Mark Lerner explained the reasoning behind the trades, writing that Washington gambled at the July 31st trading deadline by not trading some players then.
Yeah, you gambled and you lost.
Yeah. So anyway, Adams is gone to St. Louis, and Murphy will go over to the Chicago Cubs.
And I get the gamble on Nationals again. They weren't far out of the at least NL East picture behind Philadelphia and Atlanta, so they were obviously holding out some sort of hope that they would make a run after the trade deadline with the pieces. They could, maybe it was a Philly or an Atlanta team that could falter back, or at least both of them to falter back, and Nats could gain ground. But obviously those two teams are not slowing down at any point. Nationals just keep losing ground against those two. Here's where you are. Nationals, you should have done it at the trade deadline. You should have gotten more bang for your buck. Well, I guess that's the gamble you take. And this is a Nationals team that is, I'm assuming, going to go through a full facelift.
Well, and this
maybe Strasburg's on the move. Maybe a few big pieces around. Again, Bryce Harper gone. Some of these big names, a part of this team, might not be there next season.
Well, the same thing too on the like you mentioned yesterday with Joe Panik and the Giants. I think
it looks like he's going to be placed on waivers. So
yeah, and I'm looking here. Speaking of the Giants, their rookie, Pudge's son, Rodriguez. Yeah, Rodriguez. Derek Rodriguez goes on the DL with a hamstring injury.
He's had multiple injuries this year.
They have activated Strickland. They haven't gotten rid of that clown. And they shifted
he is guaranteed
Pablo to the 60-day disabled list.
Yeah, Pablo's having his own issues. He's not had a bad season, but Strickland has to go. There's no doubt about it. I anticipate he's gone. I think Pence is gone. I would assume Panik is going to be, at least, again, it was rumored that he's going to be placed on waivers. It's looking like he's going to. That's one piece to be gone. Same with the Nationals. The Giants need to do the same thing. Not a complete fire sale, but there's a lot of pieces, a lot of fat on that team where you could probably get rid of
some hefty payrolls that need to go bye-bye. Yeah. All right, we want to remind you, coming up, we got Red Skelton ×2 from 8 until 9.